And aside from my family, now that I've got them out of the way, there are many people that helped me along the way that need to be acknowledged. And it's been mentioned a couple of times here that this is not an easy job to apply for. You really have to rely on your friends and colleagues. And I must say the support and encouragement that I've received from my friends and colleagues throughout this process, and the things that they have said about me, and the endless letters and interviews that they have had to put up with over the years. Well, it has been years, okay, months. It have been one of the most humbling and gratifying experiences of my career. Going back to the funeral comment. But there are too many of these kinds of friends and colleagues to name individually. But when I thought about it, I realized, and I was honored by the fact that many of the people who got me on this track to become a judge and then kept me on the track to become a judge were other judges. And so I want to acknowledge some of those who kept me after this pursuit and got me to this point. The first would be Justice Eric Rosen, who, when I first started thinking about this, I called him and his parents, who were going to be here today, Betty and Irv, my oldest friends. They're not here. But I called Eric and asked him what he thought about me becoming a judge, and he just said, you need to do this. And that phrase kept repeating itself with various judges I talked to. I'm not sure what they all meant. I still don't know what that phrase means, but they said, you need to do this. So I pursued it further, and the next person I called was Judge Richard Smith down in Lynn County, who was going to be here today, but coincidentally is celebrating his 20th year on the bench this afternoon, where they created a surprise, and Marshall, they created some surprise party for him this afternoon, and he couldn't very well meet his own surprise 20th anniversary party down here. But anyway, Richard Smith is one of the smartest guys I know, and I thought he would be good counsel. And further, when he was county attorney, he's not here, but I'll tell the story then anyway. When he was county attorney, I actually beat him in a court proceeding, and the legend was at the time that no one had ever defeated Richard Smith in a court proceeding. Mark, you might know you know the story. And so I beat Rich. I convinced the judge down there to throw out some felony case in a preliminary hearing, and Dick went nuts. And from that point on, he figured if I could beat him in court, then I must be some kind of genius. And from that point on, he's had this overdeveloped sense of admiration for me, and has been one of my greatest supporters. And I was told by several people on the nominating commission that he was my best advocate through this whole thing. So I had to acknowledge him. I applied for this position like 4 times, and got closer and closer each time until I got it. And the first time I was wondering what the heck it was all about, because I didn't make it. So I called Judge Arnoldberger and said, well, you know, what happened here? What do you think? Should I do this? And we talked a little bit about what people have said about how it's a difficult job to apply for. You have to put yourself out there. You open your life up. You call upon your friends to say things about you. And that's really, really hard. But she said you need to keep going. You're the person where we want to see back in front of the commission. And with that encouragement, I did. So thank you, because if you said, thanks for applying. You know. So I did, and the next time I failed to make the panel again. And I was pretty discouraged about it. And I got a call out of the blue from Judge Kevin Moriarty, who I did not know even at that point. And he called me up and said, and he's on the nominating commission. And he said, I want you to tell you, don't get discouraged. You need to do this. You need to apply again. But I've got some tips for you. And that's when I learned that the nominating commission thought that I was so laid back that they were afraid that I would fall asleep on the bench. They wondered if I really had the energy to show up for the job. Well, I admit I can come off that way. Apparently, it did not help when during the interview I kind of did one of these over the back of my chair. I had not applied for a job or interviewed for a job in 25 years. They said, well, Neil, it's a job interview. You have to sit on the front half of your seat, lean forward, and look interested. So, armed with that tip, I applied again. And this time, I did make the panel, but did not get selected by the governor. And it was at that point my then liaison, Judge Larry McLean, who's not here today, also called me up and said, I think you're going to be a great judge. You need to do this again. You need to know it. So every time I failed, some judge called me up and pushed me and said, I think you would make a great judge. And to hear a judge say that they think you would make a great judge is very, very heartening, as you might imagine. And it's by that encouragement that I kept the process going and ended up here today. And now I'm honored to call these people my colleagues and look very much forward to working with them. And there's the others on the 10th Judicial Nominating Commission who were supportive as well. Several of them called me and encouraged me as well to keep going. And I want to thank the entire commission for their trust in me. The commission's dedication to thoroughness and nonpartisanship is inspiring and important. And I promise to honor your hard work. And I want to thank the judges in this district as well. Since I've been appointed, everyone's been incredibly welcoming to me and nice to me. It made me feel like just another co-worker, especially our other 4 new judges. That's Judge Chuck Draghi and Judge Sarah Welch, and Judge Kelly Ryan, and Judge Dave Hauber, who have all been appointed in the last year and a half and are otherwise known as the really talented people who had to be gotten out of the way before I could get this job. Despite all this other stuff you hear, that's my friends have been incredibly important to me as well. For someone who hardly gets out and is terrible about staying in touch, it's amazing and touching to see so many faces out there of people that I'm not good about keeping in touch with have shown up here today for me, and I'm touched by that. Although the prospect of free food and drink later on probably explains most of it. And there are a few more people that I need to single out. Am I going to get the hook here pretty soon?
You're okay.
Okay. Can't read my own notes. The 2 guys who introduced me probably had as much influence on how I think as my dad did, despite the descriptions of him. Mark, I didn't know I'd known you all my life. You said that, we didn't even like you in law school. That's a good reason for it. It wasn't that Mark was unlikable, but he was always the guy who was never studying, and always on the golf course, and was first in the class. And we could never figure out how that worked, how that happened. And later on, I amazingly became law partners with him, and he showed me how that happens, and he has an incredible ability to boil things down, to simplify things, and bring things down to their essence in ways that I had not understood before then. And through Mark, I came to see and demonstrated to me that there was not a law practice, your business, a business, or a case could all be reduced to one sheet of yellow legal pad. And he did that many times, and that has helped me think about a lot of